Good morning. If everyone's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Maggie Berger, and I'm a spokesperson for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Law Enforcement Division. Thank you all so much for attending and giving us the opportunity to speak about the fatal incident on Grapevine Lake that took the life of 18-year-old Ava Moore. Texas Game Warden Captain Joseph Quintero will be providing information about the incident. Amanda McNew will speak on behalf of the Grapevine Police Department, and then we will have a few minutes for questions. Please be aware that some details may be unavailable at this time to preserve the integrity of the investigations. Now I'll turn things over to Captain Joseph Quintero.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. On the evening of May 25th, Texas Game Wardens, Grapevine Police Department, and Grapevine Fire Department responded to a call regarding a boating collision that had occurred on Grapevine Lake, in which a personal watercraft struck 18-year-old kayaker Ava Moore. The personal watercraft, which had 2 females on board, was being driven at a high rate of speed near the shoreline of Oak Grove Park when the incident occurred. The woman left the immediate area following the collision and returned the personal watercraft to Oak Grove Park. The passenger remained on shore with the witnesses as the Grapevine Fire Department began life-saving measures on Miss Moore. The driver, 21-year-old Carolyn Alejandra Gonzalez from Venezuela, fled the scene in a vehicle with 21-year-old Michael Correo Poroso. While leaving the area, the vehicle collided with 2 other vehicles. The investigation into the automotive hit and run will be led by the Grapevine Police Department. Ms. Moore was transported to the local hospital where she was pronounced deceased. Ms. Gonzalez and Mr. Peroso were arrested in Dallas on May 27th. Ms. Gonzalez was booked at the Grapevine Police Department on manslaughter charges, which is a second-degree felony. Mr. Peroso was charged with collision involving a damage to a vehicle, which is a Class B misdemeanor, and hindering apprehension, which is a Class A misdemeanor. As we continue to investigate this tragic incident, more charges could be filed. The Texas Game Warden Forensics Reconstruction and Mapping Team will be aiding in the next part of this investigation. Recreating the collision will allow us to have a clearer picture to what happened that day. We will be updating the public once the investigation is complete and appreciate everyone's patience as we diligently work to conclude this case. We would like to take the opportunity to thank not only our local, state, and federal law enforcement officers, to include Grapevine Police Department, DPS, CID, ICE, the AG's office, Dallas Police Department, and the Game Warden Special Investigations Unit. But we would also like to thank the public for reporting information on the tip line. We received more than 900 tips from the public, which helped us provide a quick resolution for the family. We send our deepest condolences to the family during this difficult time, and we ask the public to allow them to grieve privately. Thank you.
My name is Amanda McNew. I'm the media manager for Grapevine Police. I want to start by thanking our partners at Texas Game Wardens. They have led the investigation into the tragic death of 18-year-old Ava Moore, and we are grateful for their dedication and professionalism. I also want to thank all of our federal, state, and local partners, the Texas Attorney General's Office, Texas Department of Public Safety, Dallas Police, Irving Police, and Homeland Security. Immediately following the lake incident, Grapevine Police launched an investigation into the hit and run. After the collision on the water, the woman believed to be responsible got into a car with a man who then hit 2 cars and fled the scene. That prompted an immediate search for both suspects. Thanks to the collaboration between our agencies, the dedication of our detectives day and night, and the critical tips from our public, both suspects are in custody and in our jail right now. This case has profoundly affected our community. While we understand that no arrest can undo the heartbreak to Ava Moore's family, we want to do everything we can to support her family while they ask for privacy and grieve. They need time right now, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can to give it to them and to be there for anything that they need. I'd like to bring up our victim services advocate, Ava Moore, who's been in contact with the family and has a statement from them.
On behalf of Ava Moore's family, they would like to say, we are so thankful for the countless messages and demonstrations of love and support, but most grateful for the many prayers we have received. This is a difficult time for all involved, but also an opportunity for our beautiful girl to continue to impact our community. Out of this tragedy, God will make good, and that only can be accomplished through forgiveness. We respectfully ask for our time and privacy to grieve, and thank you for all of your kindness and support. God bless. Thank you.
We'll now open it up for questions.
What led authorities, please, to this arrest in Dallas exactly? And where was the male suspect caught?
Ultimately, what led to the arrest was as we were saying earlier, working together with our partners in law enforcement. Through tips and basically just good, hard detective work, we were able to narrow down the area or the house where we believe the suspects were. And that's where we found them. As they were observing and watching, we were able to finally use the information provided by the public and the detective work to locate them there.
You said that the female suspect is from Venezuela. Do you know if they've been living here in Dallas?
So anything in reference to their immigration status or anything like that, I can't really speak to. I'd have to refer that to our colleagues at HSI and ICE.
Are there any other charges expected potentially? And can you speak to the girl in the blue hair who you all say did stay behind? It appears from video that she only stayed behind because the public got involved and basically made her stay.
So at this time, we don't have any charges right now pending against the passenger, so we can't really speak to any more information about her identity or anything like that. But not to say that there won't be something in the future, but at this time, there are no charges pending against her.
Why is Homeland Security involved?
I will defer that to ICE to speak to that, but what we did at this point is we use every asset and every law enforcement partner we can to ensure that we could track down our suspects.
Could you speak to the jet ski? Just any basic information about who owned it, or was it rented, under what circumstances? Because my understanding is, there are legal requirements for someone to operate a rented jet ski. Can you go into some details to clarify this for our viewers?
Correct. Yes, you are correct. So in the state of Texas, if you want to operate what we call a livery, which is the business of renting a boat or jet skis in the public waters, you have to have proper permitting. And we are investigating that as part of this investigation also. We're looking into that. As far as the ownership of the jet ski, what we're doing, actually, we had a marine theft unit come in and begin to go through the jet ski to try to get ownership history to kind of figure out where it came from, how did it end up there. But that's still part of the process of the investigation. We don't have an answer to that right now.
Is there any indication that alcohol could have been a factor in the crash?
At this point, it's an ongoing investigation. That hasn't come up, or we haven't made that decision or found any evidence at this point, but that's still ongoing. We're trying to look into all those right now.
You said earlier that after the accident, the driver left to return the jet ski to the park. I know we were just talking, you're investigating the ownership of it, so I guess you don't know if that was something that the park was renting out, or?
No, it wasn't the park. And when we say return, basically what we meant by that is after the immediate collision happened on the water, they returned on the jet ski to land and then departed the area trying to flee.
But what's the relationship between the male suspect and the female suspect that are now in custody?
At this time, what we know is they knew each other and they got in the vehicle and fled together. We don't know if they are, at that point, did they know each other more as far as relationship and stuff? That's still all under investigation. We can't really answer that right now.
Can you speak to how many game wardens were out on this busy holiday weekend? Where exactly were they? And please speak to some witnesses who say, especially since y'all are saying that she went by at a high rate of speed several times, where were you guys? And speak to, please, the public who is questioning that part.
Absolutely. So we did have Texas game wardens on the water that day, patrolling Lake Grapevine. We had a boat with 2 game wardens on that water. At this time, we had boats on holiday weekends on all the major bodies of the waters throughout DFW area, Lake Louisville, Grapevine, Benbrook, Eagle Mountain, and so forth. So we have limited resources, and we have to spread them out a little bit thinly. But we did have a boat on Grapevine. They just happened to not be in that area when this incident happened. But I will tell you that multiple times we will get calls from dispatch or public of complaints of jet skis, and if we are in the area, we immediately respond. But even if not, we come there as quickly as possible to address the issue. And what you brought up is a good point. With jet skis, we want everybody to be safe. A 50-foot rule is a standard rule for jet skis. What that means is if you're operating a jet ski, you must not be going any faster than what we call headaway speed or slow idle if you're within 50 feet of any object or the shoreline in water, which obviously if they had applied that law as they were supposed to, this incident wouldn't have happened.
Were there any injuries in the car wreck when the two fled and hit two other vehicles?
Not that I'm aware of, but again, that is being led by Grapevine PD, so anything that refers to that portion of the investigation, I would have to refer to them.
Do you have anything on other fatalities or anything that have occurred with jet skis on Grapevine Lake or any of the other lakes in North Texas?
I don't have those stats with me now. I do know that we have had other fatalities involving jet skis throughout the state of Texas, obviously in the past years, but I do not have those numbers or information with me right now.
Do you know like how close to the shore the accident happened?
Oh, that's still under investigation right now to determine that.
Can kayakers be basically anywhere out on the water, or are there any rules for kayakers as well?
Good question. So kayakers are what we consider paddlecraft. And so paddlecraft have the right to be on public water just like anybody else. They have to meet certain safety requirements like other boaters, wearing life jackets, having sound producing device and things like that. But it is a responsibility of everybody boating and kayaking to be looking out for everybody else on the public waters of the state of Texas.
The governor mentioned the death penalty. Is that at all in the cards here?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
The governor mentioned on social media the death penalty. Is that at all in the cards?
As of now, we have filed manslaughter charges. All of that is left, obviously, to the courts to run through the system. But what we are looking at right now, what we have filed initially are manslaughter charges.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Will the federal representatives be able to speak to us about immigration status and some of those questions?
Yes, I would gladly hand it over to them if they'd like to.
Is that me?
You're it.
What can you tell us about the immigration status of these two individuals?
Yeah, so I just want to say my name is Joshua Johnson. I'm the acting field office director for ICE ERO in Dallas, Texas. And our thoughts go out to Ava Moore's family. And I can speak to both individuals that were previously mentioned here were Venezuelan nationals in the country illegally. And we've lodged immigration detainers with the facility. Once the state of Texas goes through the process and the criminal charges, we'll take custody of them once the state of Texas is finished with them.
Can you please expand on their actual status, given that they are here in the country illegally? Does that mean that they came into the country, crossed illegally, and have they then applied for asylum? That needs to be cleared up for the public.
Sure. It's my understanding that both individuals crossed the southern border in 2023 or 2024. They were arrested at the time of entry, processed for a notice to appear, and then released on their own recognizance.
For Amanda and Michaela, could you talk to me a little bit about the public response from the internet to the videos that possibly aided in the apprehension of these two, to the people who carried Ava from the water? Kind of talk to me, you talked about the community, talk to me about really this community outpouring and how that's aided, not only in the investigation, but also in the possible healing for this family.
Well, I will say as a community, Grapevine is a resilient community, very family-oriented, and I think that speaks a lot to who we are, both as a department and a city. And I think that always helps this community heal, all of North Texas. Families come together. When we spoke to the family, they have talked about the overwhelming outpouring of support, that they are getting more outreach than they can even know what to do with at this point. And that it's a lot, and that they have been praying, and that they're very grateful for what they have, and that it's so much that they just need to grieve and process right now, but that it has been a lot.
Is there anything that y'all would be able to say about Ms. Moore, type of
So Ms. Moore was a current student in the United States Air Force Academy. Her family was very proud and mentioned that. They have received outpouring of support from both her school she was at, their church, family, and friends. And they just want this to stay focused on their loss and what they're experiencing and emphasize all the good works Ava did and just focus on her and keep this, the reason we're all here is to honor Ava and her family.
Do you happen to know the name of the church, family?
At this time, I want to respect their privacy and let them keep going through their process.
Ms. Amanda, did either of the suspects have anything to say at the time of their arrest or therefore after, or afterward? Did they say anything about like what they say happened, or was it they said it was an accident, whatever?
I mean, that's part of the investigation.
I have another question about their immigration status. So after the charges are tried in court, how is that going to work on the immigration front? Will they be deported?
So both individuals will have to see an immigration judge who will decide whether they are removed back to Venezuela.
But there won't be a bond, correct? There will be an immigration hold, would you say?
I would think that a bond would be inappropriate in this case.
Do the suspects have any other ties to criminal organizations?
I don't have that information.
Thank you.
How soon can that happen, that they will see a judge?
Right now, they're in the custody of the state, and so once the state is finished with their state charges, they'll turn them over on the ICE detainer, and then they will proceed through the immigration process.
Is there anyone who could talk about how the situation went through yesterday? Walk us through the events of taking her into custody, please?
I won't be able to get into too much detail with that because it was an operation, and I personally was not there. But what I can say, it was a joint operation among different agencies together, working, bringing all of our resources in to find these individuals and bring them in. But as far as everything leading up to that point, again, this is an ongoing investigation, and I can just say that it was just the hard work of multiple agencies working together to ensure that we bring justice.
Excuse me, I was there yesterday, and I remember hearing that she was held up on the upstairs, and when it comes down, can you guys talk about that?
I have no details on that right now.
We'll allow 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap up.
Could you just speak to just the scene itself, how tragic and callous perhaps, if that's a word that you want to use, of this could have been just a horrible accident if they had stayed, but then how the public got involved, not only trying to save Ava, but also literally trying to stop these people from leaving. Can you give us a little bit of heart in all of this?
Absolutely. Horrific scene, horrific scene. The tragic, unnecessary death of anybody on the public waters of the state of Texas is something that we're always fighting to try to deter and stop from happening. And this is a great example of that. As Texas game wardens, public safety is our primary concern when on the public waters of the state of Texas to keep people safe. That scene showed how the community came together to try to do what they could to help when they saw something horrible happen. And that is what I like to kind of concentrate on this right now, is that the public came to her aid and tried to do what they could possibly do there until first responders could get there. As far as the other portion of the crowd getting involved with the suspects and things like that, that's, I've heard a lot of reports. We've all seen the videos out there, and that's part of our ongoing investigations and things that we're not going to really speak to right now as we try to figure those things out. But it is a tragic situation, and I hope that people will take this and use this opportunity to not only remember Ms. Moore, but also to remember to be safe on the public waters. That when you do things out on the public waters, when you make decisions, they not typically only affect you, but they will affect the people around you. So take that moment to try to be safe in everything that you do there and be responsible.
Captain, can we just get the spelling of your last name, please?
Absolutely. The spelling of my last name is Quintero.
Just what happens now, just for all of us?
Sure. As we said before, we will continue on in our investigations. We're having our game warden forensics reconstruction and mapping team coming in now. So we have a forensics team that can come in, map, and actually use technology to recreate the boat accident. And that is our next step. And they will be coming here and doing that, and then we will be collecting all that information and continuing on building the case for submission.
Before we wrap up, we also get spellings that everybody else do. So-
Yes.
All right, thank you.